We're on the fourth day of the four-day course. It's the last day, and the temptation on the last day is to get everything right and to do little things. And I just encourage you that on the last day you can still make big progress and make big bold decisions and really move it on, rather than just be scared of making big changes. We've gone through different layers, and the first layer we sat up looking at the profile, and it was like a chapter of a book. Everything we did was just to get the profile and the points in space that set up Harriet's profile. And then the second layer, we started to look at the width of the head and from the front, so the outside shape of the head. And so that was like a chapter in a book. Everything we were doing was towards finding the widest point, how the head moves in. And then we were looking at movement around the head, so around the hairline. So it's like we were changing our focus and our thinking to forget the profile. We've done that. Move on to the next thing, looking at the movement around the head, certainly around the profile, around the brow, around the zygomatic arch and around the jawline. And that started to give us something of the fullness of the head. And then switching layer again, we've been looking at some of the volumes and the way the eye moves around and looking from three different directions at the same time to spend more time looking at the model than just working on the clay. So today, an important layer is to look at the shadow and look at the tonal qualities that you see when you look at Harriet. So if I was to squint my eyes and just look at the tonal qualities that I see, as if I was just doing a pencil drawing, I need to try and get those tonal qualities happening in the clay. And it may be to get those tonal qualities in the clay has to change its shape from exactly the same shape as Harriet. So for example, if I was to take a plaster cast of Harriet's face and push a plaster into it, clay into it, the clay would just be one colour and the shape would be perfect, but it wouldn't have the tonal qualities, because the skin is a different colour in different parts of the face. Some parts of the face, the skin is, you know, if you were painting a face, you'd use green and red in different areas, and some areas are more milky coloured, and some areas are stronger coloured. You haven't got that in the clay. So you need to squint your eyes and look at the tonal qualities that are given, and then somehow try and cut the clay or model the clay in a way that gives those tonal qualities, which is beyond the shape. It's further on in the shape. If you're still thinking about where things go, it's difficult to think in that way. So what I try and teach is a way that you leave one layer behind. You've done one layer, you leave it behind, you move on, so you can think purely about one thing at a time. If you haven't got to a place, if it's not looking like her yet, you'll need to be working on earlier layers to develop it to a place where then you can jump onto this next layer of the tonal qualities. So it's quite an exciting layer, this one. It's getting towards the end of the work when you start thinking about the tonal qualities. I haven't talked about personality or any of those sorts of things, and we'll do a little bit of that hopefully later on in the morning.